Hey guys, it's Punk Rock Fourth for the Road. I just wanted to take a second to remind you guys before the show about Gator Harley Davidson Singles Night on September 10th at 6 p.m. Now, there's only 50 spots available to enjoy the music, the speed dating, and of course the drinks. Now, the drinks makes that a 21 and up only party, so make sure you're there. All right, and if you're interested in this, contact Jan at Gator Harley Davidson by her email, and that's Jan, that's Jan, at GatorHarley.com to get your ticket. Thanks so much, guys. We hope you enjoy the show.
Anyway, I had to go to county lockup 30 days, and I got out, and my friends, like any good military friend should do, said, you want to like pay rent or get food? No, let's throw a party and invite whores and have a gangbang.
Hey, welcome back, Fourth for the Road, everybody. I'm your host, Punk Rock. We got Drifter and Silent with us today, and I think we're going to cover some pretty cool stuff today. As most of you guys know, Jim and Dave are heading out to. You guys are going all the way to California, right? Is that correct, Jim?
Yeah, we're gonna hit at least Hollister, and then maybe make our way down to the LA area. I would like to meet up with the Pasadena Motorcycle Club. They go back to the early 1900s. I think they're the second oldest club in the United States. And then we got to go to Hollister. Got to go to Hollister.
And you know, I've had a couple of my friends that happen to wear green and white on that coast. They were asking if you guys were going to make an appearance, and I told them you would. So I'm glad I was right when I spoke out of turn there.
I'm glad. I guess I'm committed now.
You are committed, regardless if you wanted to or not. That's where you're going now.
I guess so.
So you're doing something before the trip. So you're actually leaving tomorrow, which is Wednesday, or no, Tuesday. Tuesday.
No, I'm leaving Wednesday, so it's day after.
You're leaving Wednesday. Okay.
Yeah, my club has their nationals over Labor Day weekend, so I'll be heading to that first.
Okay.
And then I'll be meeting Dave. That's why I'm meeting Dave way out in Kansas. And
so are you guys meeting in Kansas, or are you guys meeting in Missouri?
We are going to meet in Dodge City now.
Oh, you're going to meet in Dodge City now.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that is in Kansas. Okay. Awesome.
It's not in Kansas anymore, man.
Yeah, no. So what are you guys planning on doing? You're meeting up in Dodge City, and then you're going to get the hell out of Dodge.
Yeah, I knew that was going to come up.
Yeah, little dad joke for us there.
Yeah, so we're going to meet in Dodge. When we first started this whole thing was to talk to motorcycle clubs to kind of counteract all the bullshit that you hear out there. You know, all the, they got busted for this and they're fighting with them and all the other bullshit. We just wanted to talk to these older clubs, these older established clubs, and say, hey, why are you in a club, man? What's so great about being in a club? Tell me a little bit about why you're here. Tell me some stories, what's happened in your life. Tell me a little bit of history of your club. And just tell us all the good things to counteract all the bad things that's so easily to find, on the internet. All you got to do is tune into one of these other, sites or podcasts or whatever, and you hear all the bad stuff. But we want to put out the good stuff. And over time, that has kind of morphed into me and Andar just doing a kind of like a buddy thing. And now my cousin is coming along with us. He's about the same age as I am, which is old. And so we'll see how far that goes. And a really good club brother of mine who works in television and movies will be coming along with us as well. And we're going to record all this. And whoever we talk to, we'll talk to whoever wants to talk to us. We'll record some of the writing, record some of the scenery, record the interviews. And when we get back, we're going to put all that together and try and make a little documentary, and it'll be free on YouTube. There's no money involved in any of this, and that's the way we like it.
So is your brother that works in the film industry, is he the one that's going to be editing all that and making it nice and pretty?
I tried to rope him into that shit. Boy, he stiff-armed me good.
Well, you let him know how much it's going to take old Punk Rock to pay him, and I will be more than happy.
Dude works on high-dollar TV shows, so I don't think he cares.
You don't want to deal with a little low-rent operation like we got going.
Yeah, I promise you've seen and heard of these TV shows and several of these movies he's done.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That is outstanding. Now,
He's a great guy. Lives in downtown New York City.
Oh, damn. Okay,
Yeah.
so he's right in the heart of it. All right. All
Yeah.
right. So you guys you're going to Dodge City first. That's where you guys are meeting up at.
Yeah, and then heading out to Pueblo, Colorado.
Ooh, Pueblo. All right.
Yeah. And then we're going to keep going west, and then we're going to hit Las Vegas for the big party, which I hope you're flying out to. Is that the case?
I have my leap submitted to the Condor, so we'll see.
And Silent, will you be able to make it?
He's got to unmute himself here.
No, I won't be able to make it because I have a commitment that I have to go to.
When do you not have a commitment? You are the busiest man I know.
Dude, that's why, and like I keep telling him, like, man, like I don't hit you up to be on all these shows all the time and stuff like that because you're a busy man, like.
Yeah. I have a commitment. I don't want to say it online what it is.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. We respect that.
Yeah, I have a commitment that I cannot get out of.
But yeah, that's why I haven't been hitting Silent up recently anyways about getting on shows and all this rather frequently is because, man, he's a one-legged man in an ass-kicking contest and he's in the finals now, like it's
those titty bars will not run themselves. Okay.
Just saying. They will not. They will not. They will not. So, I can't make it rain if I ain't there.
Yeah.
Money.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I got my leave stuff submitted, so we'll see if that gets approved. And then I should be hearing back rather soon, actually. And then I'm gonna submit another one for December to go up to Mama Tribe, go hang out with Dave, party up there in Wisconsin for a little while.
My boys will be up there racing too, so it'd be nice.
Oh yeah.
So Dave got us matching shirts for Vegas.
I really
get a little stupid.
I really hope that he wasn't bullshitting and he actually watched one of those.
I hope if he didn't, he owes me one. God damn it.
I want to see you in that.
Yes, that is going to be a fucking classic.
Yeah, it's one of those Dixon party shirts, and it's colorful. It's a good choice. It's a good choice.
The pink flamingos.
It'll go good with the tidy whities I plan on wearing with it.
Oh, come on, man. Ranger panties. You got to wear Ranger panties.
Don't think I don't have them.
I know you have them. You're FW. You have to. It's required for life.
Wait a minute. There's only one Ranger online with us right now.
Well, yeah, I use the term Ranger panties, just to accommodate him.
And I couldn't fit in mine if I tried.
Well, yours are also from like 1978, so we understand.
I appreciate that. I appreciate that, young whippersnapper.
I'm here for you, Pop.
No, and even though I'm not going, I'm actually looking forward to y'all making this trip, and hearing the stories and hearing the history that you learn, and that's what keeps the lifestyle so mysterious, I guess, and so interesting is the old timers, with you and Andar especially, who are the history buffs or the history nerds, as you like to call yourselves. That's what keeps so many readers truly interested in the page, because protocol is not hard to learn. You can read it pretty much on any page on Facebook that is motorcycle related, and you can listen to plenty of podcasts, and and you can Google, protocol. It's there. It's the history that's not really passed along, and it's guys like you and Andar that are truly attempting to save that and let people know, what it was and where it came from and how it started and so on. And I definitely appreciate it. And I'm definitely looking forward to hearing hearing about your experiences.
Well, since you mentioned that, your club does a great job on preserving the history. Outstanding.
We try. It's we're all going to die at some point, and you have to preserve the history. Well, maybe not you, And punk rock, he's only 18 years old, so he's got a long time. But yeah, you have to grab that history and you have to write it down and you have to preserve it, because keeping it in your head doesn't do anybody any good at all. You've got to pass that history along, so that the next guys coming in line attempt to cherish it as much as we do. That's what it's about.
So in my club, whenever we have a prospect, we really drill them hard and we give them projects. Hey, go find out whose brother this was and where he was born and who'd he marry and how many kids and all, the whole thing. Just find out everything you can about the guys that went before you. I assume that your club, Silent, has something similar. Do you just drill into your prospects about the club and the history?
There's during their probate phase, they get taught quite a bit, but they don't get taught everything. We do the same thing as what you're referring to. We'll ask them a question and they have to go and find the answer.
Yep.
We don't just give them the answer. That anybody can do that. It's no different than reading a book. For one thing, it tests other brothers, patched in brothers. When you got a probate that comes and asks them a question and they don't know the answer to it, it's a challenge for them, but it's a challenge for that probate too. Of okay, Silent doesn't know the answer, so let me go over here and ask Jim, or ask Punk Rock, it gets them really talking to everybody, because some probates are introverts. You have to break them out of that shell to be more outgoing, and that's an easy way to do it, is to challenge them with the history and force them to talk to brothers, to get out of the shell and learn the history.
That's a good point. Yeah. Something else I like to do is whenever one of my prospects does figure out an answer, I'll wait a couple of days and then go ask another prospect the same question. And he better know the answer, because if he doesn't know the answer, that's mean those prospects are not talking to each other.
Right. Yeah, we have probates that they have group chats, on they all have each other's cell phones, and there's probably dozens of these group chats throughout the nation. I know of a couple of them that are here in Florida, and they share their information. One probate to find out something, and he'll shoot it out on that chat, and I actually have I can't even tell you how many pages of history that I actually have documented from when I was probate, and the rest of the men that probated with me, there were 7 of us that we all compiled the information. We all asked different questions, and then we put it into one pamphlet per se, and kept it ourselves, but we shared it as a group effort, so we all had the exact same information that we all were out seeking.
So I have a question for you guys.
Mm-hmm.
In your opinion, what's the best trait, the number one thing that a prospect would need to succeed in the MC world?
Man.
Yeah.
Man, you're saying just one?
If you had to pick just one, the most important thing that a prospect brings to the table to be successful, what is that?
Intestinal fortitude.
Ooh, that's good.
I would say the ability to communicate. Because if you have the ability to communicate, then you can accurately communicate what you're looking from your patch holders. You can communicate clearly to educate your fellow prospects, or even correct a patch holder. If he was spouting off some wrong information, you have the ability to communicate and do it the correct way. You can also educate a brother, because there's no.
Is there a correct way?
There absolutely is. It's never going to be well received. Well, I wouldn't say never, but it will rarely be well received. But at the end of the day, you're showing him that no matter what, hey, like, what's right is right, what's wrong is wrong, and this is what it is. You can't get mad at me because like you're a retired chief. I'm sure you had second classes and first classes, and maybe even third classes come up and say, hey, chief, or hey, Jim, this isn't the right way to do this, or hey, we found this not to be true. This is what we found to be accurate.
I have no idea what that feels like.
No, I'm sure you don't.
So intestinal fortitude, what do you mean by that, Simon?
The never quit attitude, he was texting me about that hat, saying he's got my hat, Funk Rock. So sorry about that.
I didn't mean to get anybody in trouble, just in case.
No, he's not in trouble. He's got it. So what I mean by the intestinal fortitude, is the never quit attitude. I think as a probate, and because that was the question, right? Is probate.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. I think as a probate, you're going to hit so many speed bumps, so many brick walls. You're at 2:00 in the morning and you're standing outside of the clubhouse. You're going to want to quit. Out there in the rain, you're tired, you're hungry. Your old lady's bitching. Because you're at the clubhouse all weekend. You got to have that intestinal fortitude to want to continue to drive on and drive on and drive on, knowing that there's light at the end of the tunnel. Communication really isn't a huge factor as a probate. The not that you're not going to talk to full patch members, example, seeking history, but communication isn't really where a probate shines, because you're just going to fucking do what you're told to do. Whatever the task may be, but no matter what, there's always going to be at some point through your probate phase, and I don't know if you experienced it yourself, that you're thinking, man, I volunteered for this shit. It was kind of like basic training. You're like, I fucking actually volunteered to go through this bullshit. I had those thoughts myself when I was probate, and I was like, fuck, man, I actually volunteered to put myself through this shit. Why? And you kind of second guess yourself a few times, and luckily I came through with a whole chapter and we bounced off of each other. Today I might be on my low spot, but my best friend Bopper, who's a warlock as well, he would pick me up, and then he would be down and I'd pick him up, and it went through that way through the whole chapter. So I think the intestinal fortitude is one of the strongest assets that a probate should have.
That's a good one.
So that's I mean, there's a bunch. Communication could be a great thing. Humility could be a great thing. Integrity, more your morals, ethics, values, your baseline of who you are as a person. I mean, there's so many things that anybody could say is the best trait, depending on how they're viewing the question, or based on their experience with probates and their own probating time.
I like that you mentioned humility. Let's be honest. Motorcycle clubs attract take charge kind of guys. We'll just call it like it is, right? A lot of times these take charge kind of guys have a difficult time serving the table before they sit at it. And,
right.
I've seen that many times. And I've even seen it that even if he does make it through the prospect or probate period and he does get patched, his ego will get him in trouble, because you as a patch holder and your ego are not bigger than the table.
Right. Usually it's the first year. I was just having this conversation this weekend with some brothers of mine. The first year that you patch in is your most dangerous year. That's again my personal opinion. I'm not speaking as the club side. You've been a hang around. You've pretty much had your life restricted. As a probate, you definitely had your life restricted. Now you got a full patch on your back and your balls to the wall. You want to be involved in everything there is, and you don't know shit. So that's dangerous. That's very, very dangerous. You don't know where the lines are. You can read a set of bylaws, but where's the unwritten bylaws? You know, it's that type of stuff. You know that they're just 100 to nothing, and the ego. You know, as I stated in, was it last night? Didn't we do a podcast last night, or was it the night before?
Yeah, we did it. We did it last night.
Yes. Okay. So last night, you know, and we were talking about, or I had mentioned changes, you know, where you change from being a civilian to being a hang around. And then you change again from hang around to probate. And then you change again from probate to full patch, you know, and then you change again from being a full patch to actually having some sort of responsibility. You know, now granted, your morals and ethics and core values should not change, but your day-to-day activities and your day-to-day responsibilities change drastically from step to step to step. You know, and that ego and that humility can cause you a lot of fucking problems if you can't put it in check.
You think
Absolutely.
you think ego is one of the reasons why there's so many pop-up clubs, guys just popping up?
100%. 100%. You know, they have access to everything just like we do. You know, the Google, the ganglands, the fucking you know,
Fourth
whatever
Road.
shows, the fourth podcasts, other podcasts, you know, and there's people running other podcasts that didn't fucking probate at all to be in the club that they're in, and they're spewing out protocol and tradition and history and all that other bullshit. You know what I mean? So they actually go
And those guys are typically the hardest on prospects.
Correct. They usually are. But you know, these guys can find all the same information that anybody else can. And I think what it is they see, holy shit, man, these guys are going to basically beat me down, you know, not like physically beat you down, but they're going to beat you down emotionally and physical in the sense of I'm going to be out on 2:00 guard duty. I'm going to be doing this. I'm washing people's bikes, you know, and the easy way out is, well, I'm just going to start my own club. You know, that's the easiest way out. And
So
hence the pop-up clubs.
So I after talking to No Shame about it on I think 2 episodes ago, he really kind of changed my mind on that because I used to share your sentiment as well that every pop up club is because people are they just want to they want the easy way out or they want anything but prospecting. But even though people have access to the same information that we do, right? Podcasts, protocol pages on social media, stuff like that. They may just not know where to look. And yeah, I understand where you might come with, well, it's a fucking Google search. How hard is that? But Notion was telling a story about there's a club up in his area that was made up of a bunch of military guys, and they fell in love with Sons of Anarchy, and they binge watched it multiple times throughout deployment and took notes. Literally took notes on, hey, this guy's vest short, so that's probably my sergeant at arms vest has to be short, and stuff like that. To where they brought that back and said, okay, cool, we're gonna model our club after this group on television, and then that's how it's done. So he made a pretty good case, in my opinion, for ignorance being a thing.
He was fucking with you again.
No, he did get me pretty damn good that one show, though. I still feel bad about that. I know I got. I'm still looking for Ashton Kutcher because I got punked.
When his dad died?
Yeah, when both of his dads died.
Did you see that, Silent? Did you see that?
Yeah.
Yeah. He made a TikTok and then he put it in the group chat. Damn, got my ass. I don't even think we were done with the episode before that shit was up. But
so I got another one for you.
Well, let me jump on that real quick, Jim.
Yeah. Please.
So I understand really what you were saying on that, Ken. But the issue with that even is these guys that start these clubs, if you really look at them and look at who's starting them, they're usually guys that were already in a club.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like more often than not, that's what you're gonna find.
Right. 99.9% of the time, they were former members of another club. Now there is, and I've had conversation, well, we all have on the staff, about these clubs that come and they want to be sanctioned, and that they come with a response of, well, I don't like what they're doing, or we're going to do something different. We want to do something different, and again, you can't do anything different. There's thousands of clubs in the United States. There's usually hundreds in every state. There's nothing you're going to bring to the table that's not already on the table. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
You
think
know,
about it. You got we were talking about like the frogmen, right? They're all Navy SEALs,
Mhm.
Killerman sons, they're all Rangers. You got veterans MC, that are all veterans. You got CVMA that's all veterans. There's the 1%ers, there's 99%ers, there's outlaw support clubs, there's regular support clubs, there's clean and sober clubs, motorcycle ministry clubs. There's nothing you can bring to the table. Baca, there's nothing you can bring to the table that doesn't already exist.
Yeah, so I finally got the approval to download our archive for Four for the Road, just in case we need it for the backup page, right?
Right.
And I was going through and I was kind of scheduling some of my older posts to kind of hop on, like just to get back into the continuity. And I'm kind of a masturbatory when it comes, like I'll read something from my from the past, and then it'll motivate me to write something different or to expand on a specific like subsection of the topic that I was writing on. And that was one of the posts that I came across today. Was you're spot the fuck on. There is nothing new that anybody else is going to bring to the table. There's nationwide clubs, like literally coast to coast. You'll find 1% clubs that are coast to coast. You'll find veterans organizations. Literally fucking anything that you want to put on your back, you're going to find it in any of these 50 states. And it might not be the flashy name that you're looking for, right? Like if you are in love with a specific 1% club and that 1% club isn't in your area, they might try to start something different.
Right.
I can almost get on board with that. But at the end of the day, look outside your county. When in my former club, I had a guy that lived 2 counties away that was prospecting, or that was attempting to prospect. He ended up not for other reasons, but he would have been a great addition to the club. But he lived 2 counties away, and he was still making the effort to come down, to hang out, to commune with my brothers when he could. If they had off days that worked together in the middle of the week, he'd come down and come see him. He opened up his house to us many times to just come up there and party because he had a decent bit of land, and obviously he's biker friendly, right? So it really depends. It really just comes down to searching out what's in your area, and if you can't find it on Google search, Google biker bars in the surrounding counties of yours, and then just go over there and hang out. Eventually, you're gonna run into somebody that you're gonna vibe with. You're gonna be, hey, you know what? I wanna meet more of these people that he's associated with, and then you're gonna find a home because nothing that you're doing is gonna be any different than anybody else. Of all the counties in this nation, maybe 1 or 2 counties you'll find something that you could bring something new into the mix, but most of it, I would disagree with you wholeheartedly.
Do you think there's a big difference between starting a new club and starting a chapter of an established club that's not in that area?
To an extent, um, I look at starting a new club. If you're doing like the COC route, or because and I use that as an example just because that's what I have most experience with. You're going to come into a room full of patch holders from a myriad of different clubs, and you're going to have to look at them all in the face and say, your club's not good enough for me. Because that's what they're saying by trying to start something new. You're not good enough for me. You don't meet my expectations to be a good brother. So I'm
Then
going to start this new club.
how would a club ever expand though if you were
That's why I say
opening a new
I
chapter?
got kind of like mixed emotions on it. On one
Yeah, I hear
hand,
that.
I think it's pretty cool, right? I think it's awesome that you get a group of guys that are not in a club that want to put in the work to earn that brotherhood from that nation, to bring that club to help that club expand and to bring that flavor of MC to their area. I think that's really cool because that takes a shit ton of work. And whoever tells you any differently, they're fucking lying to you guys. That is probably more work than prospecting for a club that's in your area, in my opinion. Right? This is just punk rock. This is, in my opinion.
What do you think, Silent?
Sorry.
Go ahead.
I think there's a huge difference between the two. You know, when you're talking about starting a chapter in another area, you know, a lot of your top clubs, they relocate people. They don't necessarily just grab 5 guys from that area and say, hey, now you're with club, you know, XYZ. You know, they generally relocate people to that area and they build that chapter. When a new club starts up in that area, it goes back to what I said earlier. What is that club bringing to the area? You know, especially if they're not wearing a diamond. You know, what are they bringing to that area that dominant club hasn't already sanctioned for that area? You know, it's I think there's a huge difference between expansion of any club to starting a new club in that area. You know,
Yeah, and that's what I was getting at, right? Like, just starting a new club, it's been done. Like whatever you want,
Yeah.
it's been done. But to bring a charter of an existing club in there, it's gonna be fucking work. And you know, I obviously like I've seen it happen with 99% clubs. I personally have not witnessed it with a 1% club. But it's gonna be fucking work. And to me, it's a really righteous thing. You know, I know a guy. I'm not gonna put. You know, I'm not gonna name or you know whatever. But
We will
I
call
know,
him George.
Yeah, okay, we'll call him George. You know, George. He lived up in you know another county of the state that he currently lives in. You know, and this is probably back in the 1800s. You know, dude's old as shit. But he prospected for his
Easy.
club counties away.
Yeah.
But you know, he talks about the work and the pride that he took in doing so.
Mhm.
You know, and then when you speak to him today about his club, there's nothing more that he could ever want out of life other than just being a good dad, being a good husband, and killing it, being a good brother for his brothers, and setting the example and leading by example.
Well, you know what they say: easy in, easy out.
Yeah.
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 You know, and on that same note, or same topic, you got to remember this too. Most of your clubs that are doing these type of expansions have years under their belt. You know, look, you know, 13 Rebels. You know, my nation. You know that we've been in existence for 54 years. You know, so we have made a shit ton of mistakes through time. You know, and we have learned from our mistakes, and at the same time, we have fixed those mistakes, hopefully. So when we expand, we're going off of past history. You know, hey, this works, this doesn't work. You know, it's easier to expand in other areas based on the experience. When you start a new chapter or a new club in in an area, you have no historical factual data on how to fucking do what you're doing. You know, and you're trying to get around the traditional way of doing shit. That's why you're starting up your own club. Does that make sense? So
Absolutely.
you know, 13 Rebels. If you decided, hey, we're going to start up in Florida, you know, well, granted, we're full down here, so don't come down here to begin with. But
I was waiting for it. I was waiting for it.
yeah, but that's a hypothetical situation. So, but
I was
you
just
know,
gonna say most of my wardrobe's already black and white. I'm just saying.
yeah. So in the event that let's hypothetically say it did happen, you have your nation has built enough chapters in different areas that starting up in Florida would not be a hard thing to do. You have experience and history in doing that. You pull out that checklist and say, hey, was this done? Was this done? Was this done? Was this done? And boom, there you go. These fly by night fucking clubs that pop up, they don't have that. So they don't have the checklist, and they're making mistakes because they don't know what the fuck they're doing. So,
and they don't have the contacts.
No.
You gotta pave the streets before you can roll down them. So, and that takes contacts. That takes relationships.
Right.
So again, I come from the West Coast. I come from Southern California, right? So and I know things are different. The things are different from San Diego.
They have motorcycle
to Riverside.
They have motorcycle clubs out there.
One or two, yeah, just a couple. I gave this piece of advice to a gentleman that wanted to start up a club that was sanctioned in another country by we'll say a not friendly club of one of the more populated 1% clubs in San Diego. He was asking me how to do it. We had a mutual friend. I said, man, honestly, what I would suggest is you start out, we're looking at a 5-year program, right? And, you start out, you're just blank cuts. There's nothing on them, no pins, no patches, nothing. You're riding around as a group and you're out there and everybody's going to start recognizing, hey, these 3 bikes, these 5 bikes, these 10 bikes, they're always together. You do that for a couple of months and then you start attending these public events. And for those of you guys out there in listener land that are thinking about starting a club in your area, please pay attention. Because this is a guaranteed way to not get your ass kicked. I'm not saying it's going to work, but I'm not saying your club will form, but you'll not get a black eye. I promise you that. A couple months,
you shouldn't say that.
I'm pretty confident. I've seen it happen. So,
all it takes is one stupid move.
7 to 10 months, you guys are riding around, you're attending public bike nights, you're attending public club events that are being hosted by your local clubs, and you're getting together with these people and you're starting to introduce yourself, you're starting to intermingle, you guys are building bonds, and then around the year mark you start introducing the idea, hey, you know what, me and my friends were thinking about starting a club. You're going to get a lot of pushback from that. People are going to say, well, why don't you just join my club? What's wrong with my club? Hey, it's nothing against your club, it's just I want to do it with these guys. We want to do it our way. And I'm not saying that your club does it wrong. I just want to do it a different way. And then you keep that up for a year. And then but yeah, see, I know. But like I said, I watched this happen. And they're all wearing the 3-piece patch now. And then around their 3-year mark, they started wearing pins of their back patch. They had like a 2-inch pin made, and they all wear them on the either on their pocket flap or their lapel. I forget, but that's where they all wore. They all wore at the same spot, and they were all riding around saying, "Hey, look, this is what we want to do. This is what it's going to look like. This is what the colors are going to be. Blah blah blah." And they had an overwhelming support from the community. So when they finally decided to pull the trigger and put patches on, they showed up to the new club meeting at the COC meeting wearing their buttons and saying, hey guys, look, we want to formally introduce ourselves. This is what's going on. This is what we're going to do. This is what we're about. No, you can't see my bylaws. No, I'm not going to break everything down about my patch to you because that's my club business. Thank you so much for your time. They showed up at the COC meeting, at the regular COC meeting, probably about a month later, and it was a unanimous vote. They were all in. So that may not work in Virginia. That sure as fuck won't work in Florida. So, because Florida is El Closo. Don't fucking try it.
Well, I don't, I know Jim's got something to say, so I'll make this real quick. Because again, it changes from coast to coast. Okay. That whole going to the COC and get sanctioned to wear your patches, that's not what the fucking COC is about. That's not what the income is about. These other big clubs, again, I'm speaking for Silent. I'm not speaking for the Warlocks Nation, right? Those the incomes and the COCs are not for sanctioning clubs. That's what dominant clubs do on their time. The COCs were there for the clubs to get together and discuss the topics that affect the motorcycle community, like the profiling project, ABATE, things like that, things that affect the community as a whole, not for sanctioning clubs. There shouldn't be any club politics happening at a COC.
I just sent you a little message in the private
Yeah,
chat.
I got it.
I am so, and just so everybody else is just aware, right? Like, I don't want to seem like I'm like talking shit or anything like that. I'm just really excited to share how we do things in San Diego with Pops, because he's probably going to lose his fucking mind.
But if Jim may know, I don't know how involved you are in the incoms and stuff, but if you go to Incom, none of that happens at Incom. Incom is there to discuss the issues as a whole in the motorcycle community. 1% clubs from across the border coming there. The same thing should be happening at the COC level, which is your state and district or region, however you want to look at it, prior to going to Incom. Again, I'm speaking for me. I'm telling you how things work in Florida. That shit don't happen at a COC in Florida. Club politics, stay out of there. But
yes, some of the most respectful conversations you'll ever hear between clubs is at the COCs, at least here on the East Coast, because it's all about things that affects everyone, and most of the agreements already agreed to before they even get brought up.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
More or less make it, official, more or less at the meeting. But
yeah, maybe one day, Ken, when you're down in this area, you can go as a guest to the COC and actually see how a Florida COC operates to compare it to the West Coast and just see the difference. You know what I mean?
I would love to see that.
Just to see how it works, because none of that shit is discussed. If my nation and a club want to talk about being sanctioned or whatever, that and if it's in our area, that's a sit down or a meeting that happens, at our clubhouse, or one of the clubhouses in one of our many areas. That's where that happens. As the COC is not the place for that.
Now, I know San Diego works differently. I know
Right.
one of the NSW guys that started, the club there and how they did it. And I think even San Diego is a little different than the entire rest of the West Coast, I would imagine. So San Diego has its own unique thing.
Yeah, and like I said, I'm my whenever I'm speaking on stuff like this, that's just from my experience in San Diego. I was never involved in another COC outside of San Diego. And realistically, outside of like Southern California, protocols lost on me, outside of Southern California protocol. And it is, because it changes region to region. You can't even just lump the Southwest into one region, because what flies in San Diego is, I would say, I'm not speaking for anybody. This is just my guess / observation. Protocol is kind of the same in like San Diego, Riverside, San Bernardino, LA County. And then you start getting north of that and it starts to change. You start getting into Arizona, that it starts to change. And it's none of my fucking business. I don't run shit. The only thing I'm running is this record button on a podcast. That's it.
Right. And like I said,
it's up to the people who are traveling through and or moving to a new area. It's up to them to learn that, because like me coming to Jacksonville, ran by a club that doesn't exist on the West Coast. I'm begging for some repercussions if I were to bow my chest up at him and say, well, in San Diego we do it this way. I'm begging for problems at that point. So I'm just saying, based off of my observation the last,
Mhm.
I'd say 8 years doing the club stuff in San Diego. That's my observation.
All right.
Well,
Yeah, you know, and that's what I was saying. I'm not saying that that San Diego is doing something wrong, you know. And I guess if I was trying to say that they're doing it wrong, I will retract that statement.
no, I
Well,
never took it that way.
yeah, well, I don't know if I used that wording, because I don't remember exactly how I worded it. San Diego is doing things how they do it in San Diego. You know, Florida does things how we do it in Florida. So I don't agree with, if that's how San Diego's doing it. I don't agree with the way they're doing it. But you know, I don't fucking live in San Diego, so I don't have to deal with it. You know, and they don't live in Florida, so they don't have to deal with how we do things in Florida. So
Fucking
if it
Florida.
works,
Florida's the
if
wild, wild west. Let's just call it like it is. It's it's insane in Florida.
But see, for those of us that live here, it's I mean, it's just how things are done. You know, it confuses a lot of people, and a lot of people are flabbergasted. You know, like Ken, for example, when he came down here. You know, but
Not a lie. No lies
yeah,
detected.
yeah. But those of us that live here, you know, it's just the norm. You know, this is day to day how shit is.
Yep.
So. But hey, if it works in San Diego, fucking roll on with it. You know, that's how things work. But just, you know, uh, that we have a joke that don't New York my Florida. You know, and and I'm sure they would probably be the same way. You know, San Diego saying don't Florida my San Diego. You know, so, it's your
Well,
rules. Keep them there. You know.
well, as much as I believe that you're going to do things how you're going to do things, and I'm sure there's differences between where you live at and where I live at. I'm sure that there's differences. Maybe they're not huge. Maybe they're just minor differences here and there. But
Right.
at the end of the day, the only thing that happens, regardless of how you got there, you're gonna learn. Whether you
Yeah.
fucked around and found out, or you were educated, you're gonna learn. And to me, I either win or I learn. And if I learn, I won. So it's
Yeah.
all wins, baby.
There's different levels too. Silent gets the full effect. He gets everything. Me and my club, we have what's right in front of us, what's on our plate. But Silent gets the whole fucking smorgasbord, man. The whole fucking deal.
I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing.
I don't. More power to you, man.
Well, hey, we are we don't have Dave with us to tell us that we're right about an hour, but we're not. We're about 47 minutes here. But unfortunately, I have to depart. So, Dad, you got anything for our listeners before we head out of here?
No, I don't. I hope the listeners learn something every time they listen to one of these podcasts. Regardless of who is on it and doing the educating, that life is about educating or being educated. We can all learn something from each other every single day. But what I do is I want to wish Jim and Dave and No Shame and Professor and everybody that's actually going to end up on this trip. I don't know if Chris is going to do any traveling with y'all, but I want to wish everybody safe travels. And again, I really look forward to hearing about the trips on the road or stories on the road.
Oh,
Right?
Thank you.
oh,
What is that?
I see
Stories.
what you did there.
Stories
yeah.
from the road.
I'm really looking forward to
Oh,
Jim's
no.
brother changing his mind. Hey, stories from the road.
Look at that.
Jim
Yeah.
Van, look at that. For
Yeah.
sale.
He's holding my book.
Yes. Yes.
I'm
And
really
if you
looking
haven't bought it, $7 on Amazon. You need to buy the book.
Yeah, don't be a cheap fuck and not own this. You
Yeah.
don't want to. Hey, I'll tell you this: you don't want to meet the drifter and not have his book to sign. That's all I'm saying.
Hey,
Right.
it's cheaper than a pack of cigarettes.
It is cheaper than a pack of cigarettes. I'm a smoker. Can't
That's what I was
confirm.
going for. That's what I was going for.
So,
Yes.
what about you, Jim? You got any parting words for our listeners out there?
Now, first of all, thanks, Silent, for that. the other thing is, as we're traveling, we're going to be posting up on the Facebook page and Instagram where we're at and what we're doing. So if you're anywhere near there, hey, come out and see us. If you want to meet up with us, let us know. Stay in contact with us. And this whole trip is to go out and meet people. So we want to meet you. Come on out.
Hey, Jim, are you going to do one of those vlogs?
We're going to – why are you laughing, Punk Rock, huh? I know what a vlog is. It's whenever you really eat a big burrito and you got to go take a dump. You call that a vlog?
It's because we had to teach him yesterday.
Anyway.
Yeah, him and Andar taught me what a vlog was yesterday. And a B-log. There's a B-log and a vlog.
No, it's a vlog and a blog.
Oh, you lost me now.
Yeah. Yeah, they had me too.
Oh, it's not a vlog?
Oh,
what the
man.
fuck?
Well, I mean, that's what you guys get for growing up in the world before, you know, when it was still black and white, before color was invented.
Yep.
So yeah, so
no
Flag Drifters
vlogs.
No vlog. All right, so what we got from this podcast is do it carefully. Buy Jim's book and hit him up on the Fourth of the Road Instagram or the Facebook page. Yeah, I think there we go. We wrapped up 50 minutes of show. What's up?
And do not New York silence Florida. Don't do it.
Do not New York silence Florida. I think that's going to be the name of this episode is Don't New York by Florida. So, awesome. So, hey, seriously, I've partied with both of these two gentlemen that are getting ready to head out on the road, and it's a fucking blasty blast. You will not regret losing a couple hours of sleep to come hang out with these guys, even though you got work the next day. So please hit them up, tell the stories, and just so everybody's clear that if you're worried that a club that you may not be a fan of is also in the videos or whatever that they're recording, this is not a conversation that we're trying to have between clubs or say, oh, well, this guy from this club said this. There's no trash talk. There's none of that. It's just information. It's just history that you guys are willing to share and making a cool
what you love
video
about the life
culture. And that's it.
And what you love about the life. That's it.
Yep. And what you love about the life. So, gentlemen, thank you guys so much for your time. We really do appreciate it. We appreciate everybody out there in reader and listener land. You know, this is we do this for all y'all. You know, and we have a damn good time doing it. I do have to admit that. So I don't know what we have in store for you next week, guys, but I'm sure it'll be fun. I think No Shame's going to have plenty of stories to tell next week, so maybe we'll get him on a show, and we'll hear about him surfing through hurricanes and shit.
Yes,
absolutely.
It's a lot more than that. Yeah. I want to be on that. I want to be on that show. That's going to be like a 3-hour show.
Hey, I'm with it, man. I'm here for it.
Yeah.
Awesome. Hey, again, gentlemen, thank you guys so much for your time, and we will catch y'all next week with something special.